I feel so dumb because I don't know what it is about YouTube streaming now that got just incredibly more complicated. I can never figure out like exactly how to get it just right. Apparently I was streaming for like 45 minutes with the stream on private. So nobody was like seeing the stream. I swear I feel like a grandma trying to figure out an iPhone for the first time every time I'm like streaming on YouTube now. Hi, welcome. Oh my gosh, this is like better late than never. Hi, Manga Art, welcome. Thanks for coming to this stream. I'm glad you love my art. Yeah, welcome. I feel so stupid because I was streaming for nobody because for some reason YouTube defaults the stream to private. So I guess, oh God. I think the maintenance people are here now. God, timing is just so perfect today. Hi, little redhead, welcome. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you all. I'm so sorry that this got off to a weird start. Like I said, YouTube streaming just got like way more complicated in the past few years. Yes. No, I'm not stupid. You're right. I'm a little out of practice with YouTube streaming. Anyway, yeah, YouTube did me dirty. I don't know what's going on. Okay, we're inking. That's what we're doing. I am like halfway into this now, and I'm liking it so far. This is an illustration that I'm really excited about. We're gonna get back to it. I guess so. I guess it's so you can easily adjust things. It might be something that's carried over from my video upload settings, because I have all my videos uploaded to private by default, and then I manually publish them or schedule them from there, but they don't, I guess they carry that over with the live stream. I don't know why they would think that, like, I don't know. I think it's a me thing. I don't think it's like a YouTube thing. I'm sure it's not a problem for anybody else. Hi, Natasha. Welcome. Glad you could join in. So, yesterday, I did a little live over on Instagram too, and I was kind of showing the behind the scenes process of this sketch, and kind of how I got it to be painting ready. Welcome, Berkeley. Glad you're doing another chill live stream, and I got here early. Awesome. Yeah, welcome. The inspiration for this drawing I will talk about a little bit later on. Yeah, I'll talk about it, don't worry. Okay, so the inspiration for this drawing is, oh no, I haven't mentioned it yet. I mentioned it on the Instagram post, maybe. The reason I didn't is because the maintenance people were here, and the reason that I am painting this illustration, or the inspiration behind it, is actually the fact that we have mold in our apartment. And the maintenance people are here looking at the mold, addressing the mold issue. It's a horrible time to have mold in the midst of everything else, because fixing it's kind of delayed, obviously. So I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to tell if I adjust the face camera. We have our air mattress set up in here right now, because the mold is in the bedroom and they're doing lots of stuff in the bedroom to fix it. So that's the inspiration behind this piece. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you find it funny. I find it funny too. The post that I put on Instagram a couple of days ago is kind of a more fleshed out idea than what this line art looks like right now. It's a lot of the mold effects are going to be added in with the watercolor. So yeah, it just felt weird saying it when like the maintenance guys were like right there, and I was like, this tragedy has inspired my art. We had mold before. This has been a recurring issue. But this is the worst that it's been, and we've had a lot of rain, and so the past few weeks it's just been like a persistent problem. Like we can't keep it at bay. And we finally, like, we put in a work order, and we're like, look, we understand, like, there's going to be delays. That's completely okay. And then they ended up coming within a day, and they took a look at the like ceiling, like the seam between the wall and the ceiling, and we're like, we think the roof is leaking. And we're like, yeah, that's what we think too. So yeah, and as I was like laying in bed one night, after cleaning the mold, getting real up close and personal with it, I was like, wow, actually, this would make a really cool illustration, to have like a face covered in mold. I don't know, guys. I don't know how my brain works, but this is where we are. This is quarantine. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you think the drawing is beautiful. I wanted it to be a little creepy, but still pretty. I do a lot of cutesy artwork. I do a lot of like fun, happy, bubbly artwork. And I love doing it. I love doing that kind of stuff. But sometimes I kind of want to mix it up and do some like creepy, weird stuff. So I'm glad that you guys indulge me in that and are down for it. Little redhead, you will be happy to know too, what I've pulled out for part of this illustration are my little handmade watercolors, my LM Colors watercolor set. So I do plan to dip into a few of those for this illustration. You guys should go check out her Etsy shop. She does really beautiful handmade watercolors. And I had mentioned that on the stream. Somebody asked what watercolors I was planning to use. And I dug into my watercolor drawer and thought, well, I'll probably use Winsor & Newton, you know, probably just like kind of do my usual. And then I remembered, I took one look at that palette and I was like, wait, this is like so cool. I should definitely use the handmade watercolors. So I've played around with them a little bit, as you've seen, but this will be my first full illustration with them, and I'm really excited. Yeah, so you'll get to see them in action a little bit later in the stream, so looking forward to that. Last time I tried to do something creepy, it turned out cute. Sometimes that happens, or sometimes the reverse happens. Try and make something cute, turns out creepy. It just be like that sometimes. I've just been loving inking hair lately too. Like messy, curly hair has just been so fun for me. It's a pain in the butt to ink, but I do enjoy doing it. And so it's been I don't know, I guess kind of like meditative because it's just this very tedious process, but at the same time I can kind of zone out when I do it. I enjoy that kind of thing. Also, the more I do art lately... Hi, Saito! Oh my gosh! I haven't seen you in so long! Oh, it's so good to see some people in this stream right now. School's been so hard. It's nice to watch a calm, chill stream. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that my stream is able to kind of be something positive in your day. I know that life is crazy right now. School is crazy right now for people. Work is crazy right now for people. It's madness. So I'm glad that you're able to kind of catch the stream and just chill out with me for a little bit. Yes, been a while. I'm glad you managed to catch this stream too. What's up? What's up with me? Well, I just finished telling the people in the stream that this illustration I'm doing right now is inspired by the recent mold issue that we have in our apartment, which has been interesting. We are actually temporarily sleeping in my office. We have our air mattress set up behind me, and we have it just so that it's not directly in the way of my art setup here, which is great. So this illustration is going to be kind of creepy and kind of weird, and I've been kind of into that whole thing lately. And I've been thinking a lot about art style and how I have like multiple art styles. I have multiple art styles that I kind of just fluctuate between. I have some that are like really hyper simplistic, and some that are like much more crazy detailed, some that rely on really heavy bold lines, and some that are like virtually lineless. And I love having that variety to kind of fall back on. And I remember being a young artist and getting so hung up on what is my art style, when will my art style finally, come to be. And it really, the more that I do it, the more that I do art, the more I realize like I don't have one art style. I have many art styles, and that's totally okay. You do see an ink brush. This is a Princeton Zero brush, and I have my handy dandy little bottle cap here filled with a 3-to-1 ratio of the Daler-Rowney Sepia acrylic ink. Love this stuff. And a little bit of the Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay Black India ink. So I did 3 drops of sepia for every 1 drop of the Bombay Black, just to kind of soften it a little bit. I didn't want these to be super, super bold lines. So that is my concoction for inking. And we're going to be doing a watercolor painting for this. So I'm pretty excited about that. Random fact, I have a set of watercolor and I just found out it's gouache. Very cool. You can use it much in the same way if you wanted to, or you could make it look almost like digital art, which is really cool. I love gouache. I've been loving experimenting with gouache lately. It's very positive. My sister is a nurse and I'm worried about her. Oh, yes. I know. I have nurses in my family too, and I'm definitely thinking about them during this time because it's such a crazy, crazy time right now for anyone who's in the healthcare field to just be like in this world right now. So yes, very thankful for healthcare workers and very much thinking about them during this time. Going to DM the next campaign of Dungeons and Dragons group. I'm doing some world building with this is my procrastination. I am happy to be a part of your procrastination. Very happy. I am honored. Yeah, you can super water down gouache to where it's like almost exactly like watercolor. I'll show you a painting that I did. It's just like a fun experiment. with the Arteza gouache. Where is it? This painting right here of these little ocean waves. This is gouache. This is gouache and white gel pen. That is it. This is based on a tutorial by Kellogg's Loops on YouTube. Really great tutorial. And so this is a fun little experiment that I did. But if I showed you this, would you be able to say, oh, that's gouache or that's watercolor? No, it's basically like, they're basically identical if you water it down a lot. You can also make it look super pigmented, like another illustration that I don't have in front of me and I'm too lazy to get. But you can do both. You can definitely do both. Let's see. I have like a million different art styles. You are not alone. Awesome. That makes me feel so much better. It depends, I guess, on whether it's acrylic gouache or what I guess I'll call regular gouache. I don't have as much experience with acrylic gouache, which might behave differently. In my experience, regular gouache or water-based gouache can be watered down significantly and will still dry with like a pretty matte finish, can be very translucent or built up to be very opaque. So there's some differences with acrylic gouache. Like I know it dries to be a little bit more of like a semi satin finish, I think. And I don't know if it can be watered down as much, and if it is watered down, I don't know if it stays waterproof. I'm not sure. Mold means too much humidity, not enough airflow to get rid of, and lack of sunlight. Yes. So there's like typical mold that we would expect to get like around our windowsills and like in the bathroom because we live in a very humid climate. This mold is interesting because it's persistently coming into the same area and it's like spread out across a large area. They've kind of come back and treated it a few different times with like more mild methods, and basically they've determined that it's a leak coming from the roof, probably in between like the outside wall and the inside wall, or like the drywall. So it's not an issue that we can treat with like cleaning products and good ventilation. Unfortunately, I wish it was that easy. This beautiful water is so hard. It is hard. Is this? No, this is not a De La Roni sketchbook. This is a Strathmore. Yeah, this is a Strathmore 400 series watercolor paper sketchbook. I barely use this sketchbook, but it's really good paper. I enjoy it a lot. I just hardly ever use it. Hold on, let me catch up on the chat here. No, you don't talk so much. I love being able to talk to people in the chat, so don't feel like you're talking too much. I'm just a little slow. Welcome, Pernilla. Welcome to the stream. Sorry I'm a little late saying hi, but I hope you are having a lovely day as well. Do I have a cheap marker preference? Off the top of my head, I would say Ohuhu. Ohuhu alcohol-based markers. If you prefer a brush nib, their brush nib is great, but if you want to go even cheaper, just their bullet nib markers are great too. I think out of all the markers I've tried, they are the most reputable company for the price, for the quality, really good color range with some exceptions, but I think the biggest thing that I always praise Ohuhu for is that they actually listen to feedback really, really well. And they have made many changes to their markers over the years to improve based on like feedback that they've heard. So I would say Ohuhu is kind of like number one. That being said, if you go on Amazon and you type in alcohol-based markers, a million different brands pop up. I feel in some ways once you've tried one, you've kind of tried them all. Shuttle Art is another one that's like kind of similar in price and quality to Ohuhu, but they don't have brush markers. And overall, it just kind of feels like you're getting the same product with a different label slapped on it. So it's kind of personal preference or just whatever your budget is, but I love Ohuhu as a low grade, like inexpensive, good quality marker. I love that you call Minnesota Diet Canada. I've never heard that before, but that's hilarious. Yeah, so that's kind of what they're doing now. So they're treating, basically they've like taped off the walls and ceilings to suffocate the existing mold. And then they have a dehumidifier in there running 24/7. So we have the door closed, we have the dehumidifier running, and we're kind of just like leaving everything in there for right now, and hoping that like it works out, and hopefully this isn't a recurring issue from this point on once they kind of treat the leak from the outside, which hopefully won't involve us having to move into a different apartment permanently or temporarily. That would be, ugh, that would just be the worst. But if we have to do it, we have to do it, you know. Let's see. Oh, who's the king? I'm currently sketching a picture of flowers in a watering can. Sounds very pretty. What watercolors am I using? Hello, Joyce. Welcome. I am going to be using a few different things. I'm going to be using a pretty significant staple in my collection, which is the Winsor & Newton Cotman half pan watercolor set. This is like their traveler's set, 12 pans. Really good staple. I love it compared to the Arteza for this type of illustration because the colors are just slightly more muted. And I'm also going to be throwing in some really beautiful handmade watercolors, courtesy of someone in the chat right now, a little redhead. She has an Etsy shop called what is it? LM Colors. LM Colors. I always forget that. She is amazing at making handmade watercolors, and these are some really beautiful colors here. Again, I actually have these swatched as well. I can go ahead and show you. Might as well. I flipped right to it. How cool is that? These are the swatches. So I definitely see myself pulling in some of these cooler tones, like this Hedgehog, such a cute name. This Hedgehog Brown, Plum Blossom, and January. I love this color. And this dark sparkle color is really cool too. It has like a nice sheen. This is probably my favorite color out of all of them. Helios, such a good color with such a good name. So I might try and throw a little bit of that in as well, just because it's so pretty. So yeah, she has an awesome Etsy shop. You should go check it out. And I have not tried koi watercolors, so I cannot speak to the quality of them, unfortunately. Wish I could. Oh, you scared me. Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Lunch has been served. Let me finish these last few wispy hairs. Oh, this smells so good. Yes, Saito, you are still a moderator for the chat, which is awesome. I would not change a thing. It just has been a really long time since I've live streamed, right? Okay, I'm gonna put my brush down for a minute. We're gonna eat some lunch. We have a green chili, chicken, cheese, quesadilla, courtesy of the chef in this household. I'm also going to go get some paper towels for eating and for watercolor a little bit later. I will be right back. Okay. Went to give my compliments to the chef, and get a beverage and some napkins. Okay. It's moments like this that make me lament my single life. Oh, I will say, having a partner that cooks is one of the greatest joys of my life. I can believe that. You know, there's no rush with relationships. You shouldn't ever feel like that's a bad thing or an embarrassing thing. So I think it's okay. And you know what? It's a good opportunity to practice cooking yourself. It's a good skill. But if you were in a relationship, that person would be very lucky, and it would be, you know, a beautiful thing. Oh, you're flustered. Oh, no, you shouldn't be, because you make a really good product. You should be proud. I'm happy to talk about it. Favorite art medium? I don't know. I feel like if you had asked me a year ago, even, I would have just defaulted to say Copic markers. But that's changed somewhat. I probably went like 3 months without touching my Copic markers, and overall I probably used them maybe only like 5 times within the last like year or so. Like I just really hadn't touched them in a long time, and so I was kind of feeling guilty, like, oh my god, I spent so much money on Copic markers and I like never used them. And I used them for the last illustration that I did that I posted up on my Instagram already and on Twitter, and I'm really proud of that illustration, and I love how it looks in Copic marker. And as soon as I used them, it felt like I was just picking up right where I left off again. I still like Copic markers, but are they my favorite art supply? I don't know. They're my most used art supply. But lately, I've really been liking watercolor. I've really been liking Posca pens. I've really been liking digital. Like, doing digital pencil sketches has been so fun for me, and I love doing that. So I think I am like in search of a new favorite art medium right now. Not really sure if I have one. You know what? Being a crazy cat lady sounds pretty cool too. How many chihuahuas do you have? You know, Saito, I think taking that time to discover yourself, especially at this age, is super good. I think that you never want to like rush into something just because you feel obligated to socially or anything like that. So I think, you know, when it's time, then you're ready. And you don't owe anyone an explanation or a reason as to why you're making that choice, because it's totally up to you. Let's see. Berkeley says, help, I'm torn. Blue, pink, or purple flowers. Okay, Little Redhead says pink. I'm going to say pink and blue. Oh my gosh, 4 chihuahuas? That sounds really fun. Well, thank you, Saito. I appreciate you being open and sharing that on the stream. I really do admire your openness. Thank you. You obviously feel like this is a safe space, and that's really important to me. Also, this is so good. It's so yummy. I just found a little baby chicken bone. Good thing I didn't swallow it. Yes, all the pride to you. Absolutely. Well said, little redhead. Those are all perfect names for dogs. I love it. Oh, thanks, Saito. I appreciate that. You know my streams. We're always down to ramble and talk about whatever. Clive, Bonnie, Rosie, and Mr. Bean. I love those names. Those are such good names. Okay, little redhead. We'll be eating together. We'll be dining together from halfway across the world. Is this a mukbang? Maybe. I don't even know. We just kind of go with the flow over here. Making you hungry. I'm sorry. Very, very sorry. We will get back to the art in just a moment. But it's lunchtime, you know. Gotta take breaks. Only reason we named him Mr. Bean is because he's so ugly. Oh my gosh. I have a really big place in my heart for ugly dogs. Like, I love all dogs. But if they're kind of ugly and like, kind of like snorty and, I don't know, wrinkly, I love them. I love them even more. It sounds like I would love Mr. Bean. I would love him and tell him he's beautiful every day. £1.5 pounds? That's so tiny. That's like as much as this quesadilla weighed. I don't know how you talk to someone on YouTube either. I don't know. Like I said, I struggled with this YouTube stream not once, but twice. Struggled with it last week, struggled with it today. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, you guys are all watching from outside the US, that's for sure. Awesome. That's so tiny. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're down to like the last few bites. Korea and Sweden too. Diet Canada, yeah, we got that covered. I would like to visit Canada. Canada would be super cool. Sweden would be super cool. Germany would be really cool. Yeah, there's a few countries on my bucket list. Okay, everyone's getting food now. Yes, it's about time. Okay, we have my official paper towel now. Another one from Sweden. Oh, that's cool. Your sister already lives there, so that would be a nice transition. Okay, here we go. Back to business. That was so good. Oh my gosh. Oh, I almost went in with the wrong end of the brush. Smooth. Okay. I think we're kind of done with this half of everything. I could always, of course, add more lines to the hair, probably forever. Oh, Switzerland would be cool too. Okay. I'm trying to like find some larger lines to ink. That way I can use up some of the ink on the brush before I move on to kind of some of the finer, smaller lines. Let's see. Oh my gosh, sorry, I am behind on the chat. Canada's boring, although maybe it's because you've lived here your whole life. Probably. Canada is the country that you also want to move to. That would be cool. yeah, I guess it depends on what you find interesting. If you find nature super interesting, then Canada's probably really cool. Definitely my cup of tea. Hi, puppy girl, welcome. Why is everyone talking about countries? They're just talking about where they live or where they're from, because it's different time zones. So it's always interesting to see like who's eating dinner and who's eating lunch, and I don't know, it's just kind of cool. What made you get into art and drawing? I mean, I don't think it's any one thing. It was definitely greatly influenced by the fact that my dad was in a creative field. He's had a graphic design company my whole life. So I was always kind of around creative people in my family. I have cousins that are artists, aunts that are artists. My brother and my sister are both creative musically. So I think it's just like when you're surrounded by creative people, it's kind of hard not to be creative. And that was definitely the case with me. And then obviously, you know, I had a personal interest in it as well, and just kind of kept going with it. So yeah. Wow, we have such a diversity here. Is it okay if I ask you guys something special about your country, like lore? Ooh, love that question. I'm gonna inspiration from different cultures for my D&D campaign. I love this question. That's such a good question. I would have been going to Italy this summer if it wasn't for all the madness. Yeah, I had a trip that was gonna get pushed back too. I want to hear both, religious lore and local legends. Lots of chihuahuas. My family started the tradition. That's cool. Right now I'm working on gods, so religious, I guess. I know, that's okay. You guys, I love that you guys are like chatting. That's totally cool. I love it. Yeah, if your cup of tea is warmth, Canada might not be the place for you. I don't mind at all. Please, you know, please feel free. I might not be able to like read every message, so I do apologize if I miss some. Feel free to like send it again if I don't get to it in a couple minutes, but I am happy to. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I definitely was thinking more like local legend stuff. Like I have one that kind of came to mind for me, but religious, I don't really have one. Snowed 2 days ago. Caught a friend who tried to marry a mortal despite her will, and she escaped his punishment. Oh, that's a cool one. Turned her into a rainbow. That's really cool. So no, I like that one, Saito. That's a really good one. Hi, Shuby Legend, I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome to the stream. Am I planning on doing live streams weekly? No, I don't really have an official plan for like scheduling streams. He has a wrench by his name because he's a mod for my streams, my chat. So I did that a long time ago because he's a very consistent member of the audience. And it's just kind of a way of like helping me like manage the chat if there's like questions that he knows that he can answer, or that, you know, somebody has like other kinds of questions. Just kind of a helpful way of like keeping me, like helping me out with like managing the stream, I guess, or the chat specifically. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's very cool. I call him Saito because that was something from way back in the other streams. So it might be a little confusing, but when I say Saito, I mean Vachta, which I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing correctly, which I think is sort of where Saito came from. That's really cool. I appreciate all the little fun history facts. That is very cool. It's your first language. How cool. History fact, my birthday is April 2nd. Happy belated birthday. Okay, Berkeley, well great. Thank you for hanging out in the stream. I do appreciate that. Also, sorry my giant head is in the way of me inking this. Didn't realize that. My bad, guys. I adjusted the camera a little bit, so hopefully that's a little better. If not, let me know. I'm happy to move the camera. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, tag me, take a picture, and like tag me on Twitter or on Instagram so I can show the stream. That's a great idea. It just looked giant, like in the viewfinder, like when I looked at it. It's like, I kind of get all over the place with streaming that I forget to check, like, is my face camera in the right spot? Or like, you know, is my head blocking the artwork? Like, I just kind of forget to check. So if there is something I can do to like adjust the camera or adjust the sound, always let me know. Let's see. Oh, happy birthday to your sister, Berkeley. I'm totally cool with you keep going in the history stuff. I think it's really interesting and I think it's really cool. Yeah, so I'm my streams are pretty chill. So you guys, we can talk about whatever you feel like talking about. I think either way, it's kind of a nice escape from just hearing about like news and awful things going on in the world. So I appreciate it. Of course, that is totally fine with me. Thank you for asking permission. I do appreciate that. But yeah, that's totally fine. I love that. She's like ready to go. She's like, this is great research. Your sister's principal just showed up at the front door. Oh, that's cool. A little house call, house visit. I'm glad you have your snacks. That is an important part of any live stream, is having the proper snacks. Hi James, welcome. Thanks for coming to the stream. Yeah, I don't know how I have the patience either, Little Redhead, to be honest. Some days I do, some days I don't. When I was doing my little Instagram live yesterday, and I just kind of finished refining this sketch, so I had already like kind of traced over my initial sketch and done all the detail again. I didn't feel like inking yesterday at all. I had also just finished an illustration a couple days ago where I did a lot of crazy detailed inking. And so I definitely need like a break from that and to do something a little bit more loose, free flowing. So I don't always feel like I'm in the mood to ink this kind of crazy stuff. But when I do, I kind of roll with it because I love the look. I think it just looks so cool, so pretty. And it's really fun, you know, but it's tedious. I definitely have to take breaks. I definitely have to like stretch my wrists and do all that kind of stuff. Let's see if we get any good wrist pops here. Yes. Take care of your wrists, kids. Don't get carpal tunnel. Yeah, so I have to kind of be patient with myself, not only in the activity itself, but like having to kind of take breaks and do it. Have to not drink too much caffeine before this type of thing. That's always an important part. Yeah, I feel really bad for graduates this year too. It sucks. Okay, Berkeley, we'll see you when you get back. Um, yeah, I have some friends that are graduating this year too that are not going to be able to walk across the stage. I briefly played around with the idea of designing a card, and it's part of me was like, it's too soon, it's too raw, it's like, you know, not the time. But like making a graduation card that says class of COVID-19. Um, I'll acknowledge sometimes I have a kind of dark, cruel sense of humor. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't bring myself to design it. I think it's funny, but it's also like, I feel so bad for the graduates right now that like I could not, I couldn't do it. Yeah, a lot of my friends aren't going to be able to walk across the stage, and I know that's like a really huge accomplishment that they won't really get to celebrate the same way that I did, and that's really sad. That's funny. It is funny, but I also like, I don't think everyone would find it funny, so I'm trying to like keep that in mind. Story of Kahina, aka the High Priestess, who's actually a real historical figure in the last Berber coin before the kingdom fell. Oh. Her Etsy shop is called LM Colors. I'm trying to think how you spell colors. It's COLORS. No you. Mr. Beans has joined the live stream. Awesome. Please do. Please share your socials. I am totally okay with that. I appreciate you asking permission too. That is awesome. Thank you. But yeah, people want to know. People want to buy your watercolors. What do I want to go to next? This whole part of the hair is like stressing me out a little bit because there's just a lot of swoopy lines. So I'm going to continue working on these smaller lines down here for the time being. Oh, hold on. There we go. It like has me approve them. I'm not sure why. Yes, her Instagram is really gorgeous too. I'm gonna rotate the page. I don't think I've actually rotated the page all that much in this stream. Normally I like turn it every which way. What am I using for the outline? Good question. This is a Princeton size 0 round brush, and the ink is a 3:1 ratio of the Daler-Rowney acrylic ink in sepia, 3 drops of this for every 1 drop of the Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay Black India ink. Both of these are waterproof, and I mix them because as much as I like the sepia, sometimes I just want it to be a little more muted, a little darker, and that's where that black ink kind of deepens it, makes it a little bit richer, but still not making it super harsh. So I get all the benefits of having like a really dark, bold outline without kind of taking away from the colors that I'll add in later, so it still looks really soft. And then I section out the little bit of ink and I mix it in just a bottle cap. So yeah, that's what I use. If you try to use a brush, I would epically fail. Oh yeah, I don't know, it takes some practice. When I thought I was streaming earlier, but I actually wasn't, my first couple lines, I was kind of freaking out because it like, you know, that instant first line on the page looks so stark, and I kind of had that sense of immediately regretting the route that I went, and I was like, oh, I should have just done fine liners, like this is like gonna be too messy, too inconsistent, like but then a few lines into it I was totally fine, and here we are now. So find a brush you feel really comfortable with, for sure. That's my greatest piece of advice, but by all means, like, it does take practice, it does take confidence. If I was working any smaller than this, meaning if my subject of my illustration was like any smaller or more detailed, I think I would have to find a new brush or a new inking technique. I don't think I could do this quite the same way. It would be definitely a lot more difficult. So, yeah. Mr. Beans has fallen asleep in my arms upside down. That is so precious. Hi, Alyssa. Welcome. I'll fill you in on the supplies in just a second. Let me make sure I'm all caught up here. Okay, we are going through some folklore up in here, which I'm loving. Yes, so the brand of watercolors, there's going to be two different ones. Winsor & Newton Cotman Half Pan Watercolor Set. Tried and true, well-loved watercolor palette, but we've also been shouting out Lil Redhead, who's in the chat, and she just said it, so the LM handmade watercolors that she sent to me as well to try out. I've experimented with them a little, but I will be doing the full illustration for the first time with them today. So, well, I'll be mixing the two. I definitely have a few from the LM colors that I'm so excited to use. So, yeah, we're gonna mix it up. Oh, that sounds cool. Round pyramid. Very cool. And as a refresher for the people that weren't here a little bit earlier, this illustration is inspired by the mold issue that's in my apartment right now. That they are. You could send me a picture of Mr. Bean. You could send it if you post it on like Instagram, or you can DM me on Instagram. You can send it to me on there. Tag me. I would love to see Mr. Bean. But this illustration is inspired by the mold issue in my apartment. Very fun, evolving issue. I was just talking with my boyfriend briefly when he brought me lunch. I went out there to get a paper towel, and he said that the maintenance people let us know that we're gonna have to be out of our apartment for about a week while they come in and fix everything. So after the stream, we'll be troubleshooting that whole debacle. But, you know, it's the way it goes. So, yeah, that's what inspired this illustration, and I'm going to be adding a lot of the mold details in with the watercolor. Oh my gosh, my foot's falling asleep. Oh, Okay, well, arguably this was the chunk of hair that I was like most nervous about, and it's pretty much over now, so that's great. Bye, Pernilla. Thank you for hanging out on the stream. Have a good night, and we'll see you around. Yes, I think it will be fixed. It is no doubt an inconvenience, but you know, of all the times to have to deal with an inconvenience, with me not working, with me being home a lot of the time, you know, what a time to deal with it, you know? So, that's that. All things, you know, all things considered, it could always be worse. But yeah, so we'll be figuring all that out over the next couple days, and probably packing up what we need most and going from there. My brush is kind of getting a little caked with ink. I can tell because it's kind of like drying out a little bit more quickly, which I don't mind, because I'm able to get a lot more of these like fine brush strokes. I'm wondering a little bit how cleaning this brush is gonna go though, because like I said, both of these inks are waterproof. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I should get an art Discord like Apple Mint. I have toyed around with the idea a few times of doing like an art Discord. I've toyed around with lots of things in the past that mostly just stayed ideas. Because honestly, at the end of the day, what it is, I would love to do something like that. But it's another thing to manage, and I kind of end up playing this game with myself of like, well, I could manage a lot of things poorly, or I could manage a few things adequately. And I think I've, in the past year or so, settled on managing a few things adequately rather than spreading myself too thin. You know, that could always change at some point in the future. Like I could, you know, feel good with everything where it's at and feel ready to add on more, but I'm not quite there yet. And with Discord and streaming, it's just not something I do regularly enough to justify like the added time investment, which is kind of where I land on that. Unfortunately, not right now, but maybe someday. How did I get started? Art channels, Instagram, Twitter. Great question. So I'll give you the long answer because that's what I'm capable of. I'm only capable of long-winded answers. I started posting art online probably around 12 years ago, crazy long time ago, on a site called DeviantArt. Probably many of you have heard of it. Maybe you even had an account on there at one time. Maybe you still have an account on there. I joined DeviantArt kind of in its prime, I would say. Maybe even like towards the tail end of its golden years. And I posted a lot of art on there. Sorry, I'm like thinking and inking at the same time. My brain is kind of buffering. Posted art on there for many years. Probably dropped off around 2012 when I was like kind of going away to college, and then picked up again briefly midway through college, like my sophomore year, which would have been like 2014. And at that time, I remember an artist that I really admired on there, Martha Van. She did Copic art, and so I was like super jazzed on that. And I messaged her. I just sent her a message and was like, I really like your artwork, and I would love, if you had any advice or tips, or if you have tutorials that you recommend or tutorials that you've made. And she was very sweet, and she kind of said, I'm not really making tutorials or anything, but I know of some people who do. And she linked me to Bailey J's YouTube channel and Lemia Crescent's YouTube channel, and said, here are two people I really enjoy. And I was like, cool. I had been a participant or a viewer of YouTube videos, but only in the sense that like I would watch a lot of beauty YouTubers. Let me catch up on these questions real quick before I kind of get back to this answer. I didn't know Ohuhu was making refills, but that's awesome. Really cool. And I'm 25. I'm 25 years old. So totally don't mind that question. Totally fine. So I had been watching YouTube videos, but I really wasn't into like the art scene on YouTube until Martha kind of threw me into this world of the art community. And needless to say, I was like instantly hooked, and my mind did not take very long to jump from, oh, this is cool, I enjoy watching this, to, oh, this is cool, I want to do this. It was a very quick turnaround, and I would say in 2015, I can't remember exactly when, if it was like the end or the beginning of 2015, I started making my first YouTube videos. My very first video that I ever made was called My DeviantArt Story, and it was actually a way of like commemorating my like 8th anniversary on YouTube, or on DeviantArt, sorry. And I filmed a YouTube video kind of talking about my DeviantArt story and more or less recapping what I just told you guys. From there, I kind of just started doing a few marker tutorials, a few speed paint kind of things, and I kind of started meeting people in the art community. JMI Creations, who goes by Izzard Studios now, Nyril Busby, Miss Venomous Cupcake, Lemia Crescent, like I mentioned. I actually won one of her giveaways that she did, her 25,000 subscriber giveaway. I won the prize for that, which was great. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I got started on YouTube. Instagram, I guess kind of a similar-ish story. I had an Instagram in high school, towards the end of high school, when everybody was getting one, but it was all like personal photos, lots of filters, grainy pictures, nothing polished or professional in any way. And then I think it was again like 2014. Okay, bye Alyssa, thanks for coming and hanging out. Around 2014, 2015, maybe it was even earlier. I very casually started posting art on Instagram. And I posted it only on Fridays. And I called it #ArtsyFartsyFriday, which if you've been following me for a long time, you probably remember that tag being thrown around. And it was just a way of me kind of incorporating art very casually into my non-art posts. And the more I did it, the more I liked it, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it, and yeah, I kind of just eventually started focusing my Instagram more on art than anything else, and I didn't really post personal stuff on there at all, ever. Which is totally fine with me. I think I'm still kind of that way. And yeah, it's kind of how I got started on there. Twitter originally was just a good way for me to tweet out my DeviantArt page and get page views. Every time I tweeted out my DeviantArt page in a link, I'd get like 20 or 30 page views, and I think it was just like Twitter bots making sure that I wasn't linking to like inappropriate sites. But the brief and fleeting ego boost that I got from getting like 20 page views on DeviantArt every time I tweeted it out on Twitter was wonderful. Yeah, so Twitter has never really been a main place for me to post art or anything in particular. Twitter is kind of my one place on the internet where I kind of just let myself do whatever I want. Instagram, I try to keep it really polished, really professional. My YouTube is obviously like a thing in and of itself. I wouldn't call it polished, but it's a little bit more niche focused. But Twitter, I love Twitter. I can kind of just do whatever I want. And I love that. I still do post art on there sometimes, but it's not like I'm obligated to. So I think, yeah, that kind of wraps up my answer to that question. It's not, it wasn't like a really quick overnight thing. My relationship and my journey on social media has been a very long and gradual process. I love this little section of hair up here, actually. It looks really good. What inspires me to create? Well, obviously very random things. Like when I saw mold on my walls and thought, hey, that'd make a really cool illustration. Sometimes it's like words or conversations. Sometimes I'll just be kind of laying in bed and I'll think of an idea that will look really cool, and I can't really pinpoint what it was that sparked that idea, but I'll kind of roll with it. For example, I mentioned this in my Instagram live, but there's like the notes app in my phone. I just kind of jot random stuff down in there. Let's see. Yeah, so literally, when was this? April 12th, 2020, 11:14 p.m. Illustration inspired by mold. There you have it. Then let's see if I can find the other one. I had the other one. Oh, I think it might be. Let's see. Oh yeah, March 3rd, 2020, 10:53 p.m. Woman getting stabbed by thorns because she's too busy looking at flowers. That was the idea for my previous illustration, which is in my scanner. I keep talking about it, and it's like so accessible. I can literally just reach over and grab it, so I'm going to show you. That's this illustration. This was done with Copic markers. It's up on my Instagram if you want to see it in like full detail. But really it's kind of like random stuff, right? Like I listen to podcasts and I get inspired by those a lot, and I don't know, I would say I'm kind of just a slave to my mind and my tendency to overthink, and sometimes it turns into really cool ideas. So yeah, I will usually jot ideas down on my phone and save them for later. And as you can see, like with the rose and the thorns idea, that took about a month and a half to really evolve from a thought to a finished piece. And I showed a little bit of my sketchbook process in that too, which I can show you in just a sec. Let me finish these little wispy bits up here. What can you say to those who are stuck and can't think of anything to illustrate? This is a tough one because, one, I feel like when you're in that state, it's frustrating, you want to get out of it, you kind of just want it to be over as quickly as possible. But when I'm in that state, I'm not super receptive to advice. Right? Like, I've definitely been guilty of having an art block moment, going to YouTube, watching a video that's titled something along the lines of what to do if you have art block, 50 ideas, right? And I'll watch that whole video and like not really feel inspired or feel the need to draw anything. So what I would say to someone who's feeling stuck is that it's okay to feel stuck. It's okay to not want to draw something. It's okay to not like what you draw when you're in that mode. I think practicing that kind of self-forgiveness and just patience with, you know, where you're at is really good. You know, being able to say like, oh, yep, I'm in an art block right now. I'm probably not going to like what I make, and I'm probably going to get frustrated more than usual. So take breaks and, like, you know, don't push yourself. Or kind of use it as a time to go like, okay, I'm going to make 50 things that I don't like, and then it's going to be out of my system. And then after that, it'll be over. You know, kind of just like running with the momentum and letting yourself be like, okay, this is gonna look bad, I'm just gonna prepare myself for that. It gives you the freedom to create something without the fear of failing. That's why one of my favorite mottos is make bad art. I have it literally up on my desk right behind me. I looked at it as I said it, because art block is really, in my opinion, a block about making good art, not making art in general. And it's a very fear-based reaction. It's, you know, not having any ideas to draw, not having anything that you think is going to turn out good. But you can always draw something that looks horrible. Like, that's always an option, right? You can always just move your hand across the page and like scribble something. So it's okay to do that sometimes. That's like my long answer to it. Again, these are like very long answers. Like Lil Red had a saying, prompt lists can be really helpful. Having a certain sketchbook that you just set aside to mess up in and scribble and like try out art supplies, that's really good too. Don't ever have a sketchbook that you want everything to look perfect in. Like, don't have a like refined sketchbook and a messy sketchbook, right? Like, just have a sketchbook that like lets you do whatever. You know, I think Instagram in particular is a really big perpetuator of making artists feel bad about themselves and their sketchbooks and their drawing habits. You know, like Little Red had said too, drawing daily works for some people, but it doesn't work for everyone, and it doesn't always work all the time. 4:30 p.m. where you are. What's the average time you spend on one piece of art? When I'm streaming or not streaming? I don't know. That's tough. I don't feel like I'm particularly slow when it comes to my art, unless I'm like doing other things like watching YouTube, which I usually am, or live streaming, in which case I move really slow because I'm talking all the time. I would say it's really unusual for me to ever spend more than like 6 hours on a piece. That's pretty unusual for me. However, what's important to keep in mind there is that I'm not necessarily including every piece of the process in that number. Like, when I'm thinking, oh, this piece takes me 3 hours or 4 hours, I'm not necessarily including the time it took me to do the original sketch, to get the idea down, to, you know, refine the sketch again, to transfer the sketch, to do... I'm not necessarily including all of that in my time estimate. There's a very real possibility it could take longer, and I just don't know. I remember that used to be a really big thing on DeviantArt too. Like, in the description of the thing that you would post, you would put how long it took you to do that. Most of the time I was just guessing, and I was just like pulling a number out of my head that kind of made sense. I don't know that I've ever really gotten an accurate sense of how long it takes me to do an artwork from start to finish. But I feel like typically I do work pretty fast, and part of that's because I found some nice time-saving hacks, I guess. I don't usually care if parts of my artwork are messy, so that saves time as well. But I also sometimes do things inefficiently, and that can add time. I don't know. And my streams are not a good gauge for how long things take me, because like I said, I spend 90% of the time talking and not arting. Or arting around, as I say. If you have a second, you should look up the city of Guardia. It's a beautiful desert forest and you won't regret it. Oh, okay. I will definitely do that. Give me just a sec, because we are just about done with the hair. Finally. That took a gajillion years. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I have some dirty paint water here that I'm gonna go dump out. Clean this brush pretty good too, because chances are I will want to use it for parts of this illustration. I'll clean this one too. I barely used this brush, but oh yeah, that one was really dirty. Okay, that's better. God, it's still kind of dirty. My poor brushes. There gotta be a hack on inking hair. There kind of is. The chunkier the better. like these large, like each strand of hair can kind of be lumped into like a larger chunk. And then from there, it's just about adding little wispy lines to make it look detailed, even though it's kind of not that detailed. I mean, it is, but it looks more complicated than it is. The things that kind of help with this is having that varying line width to make it look really dimensional, having the hair going in multiple directions to add that kind of visual interest. Having areas of negative space is a really good way to kind of break it up. So I've tried as best I can to really outline areas that I want to leave as negative space. And I have a few of them here that like I feel like only I can see because it's like a maze of hair strands in here. But for example, like this is going to stay negative space, negative space, negative space, negative space. Over here there's a couple small ones as well. It breaks it up visually, but for the most part, this hair is like 6 or 7 big chunks that I've just added a lot of lines to. I have this kind of huge triangular chunk, and I've just added a few lines to that to make it look like it's a bajillion little hairs. I put a heart at the end of my signature too. I dot the I in my signature with a little heart. In fact, I can show you. What do I want to sign with? I just cleaned my brushes, so I'm not going to sign it with a brush. Plus, I do find it really hard to sign my name with a brush. Where is my brown multi-liner? This one. So my signature looks something like this, and I do a little heart over the eye there. So you're not alone on that one. Yeah, think fettuccine, not spaghetti, not angel hair pasta. Think thick fettuccine. There's also times, and this is, oh yeah, I was going to show you guys my sketchbook. You know, speaking of varying art styles, right? We got in here. I've had this sketchbook going for a really, really long time. You can see there, flat color, no real detail or strands there. Here, kind of same thing. It's a lot less detailed, much more shape-based. This one, a little bit more detailed. Here, virtually no lines, just a few key lines. Yeah, use chunks and break it down. Yeah, think Alfredo pasta. I like that visual, or fettuccine. Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of have to have certain parts overlap to make it look natural. But I love hair too. Like, hair is one of my favorite things to draw. Yeah, so there's varying degrees of detail in here. Even with like my Posca illustrations, sometimes I'll do that. Here is the illustration I did with the LM Colors watercolors. This was just kind of a quick, fun little sketch, but it really speaks to how beautiful these colors are. Yeah, even here, I really do a lot of lines for the hair. In this case, it was really to add some kind of tonal values and contrast, but kind of the same example here. Clearly less detailed than this, but it's really about big chunks with little lines. So yeah, and that's a really good point though, Saito, because I'm very similar. Like, I will be lazy with lots of things, but hair is not typically one of them. This is a great example of that. This illustration here, I spent the most time out of this illustration on the hair. This was a very time-consuming process, lots of layering. Also, though, I feel like hair is kind of hard to mess up. Like, it's a very forgiving part of the illustration for me. Let's see here. So here's what I was gonna kind of illustrate. This sketch right here was the first sketch that I did to flesh out the idea of drawing a girl with roses and thorns. Very loose idea. You can see a lot of the elements from this stayed in the original piece. The curly hair, the character looks very similar, but I wanted to do a full body pose, so this was just a very rough idea. If I had went in this direction with the illustration, I would have done gouache because it's much more graphic and bold. I don't really know. This is a really fun little brush pen illustration. Don't underestimate too, the tool that you use to ink hair can do a lot for you and can save you a lot of time and work. This was one I wanted to show. This is a little Animal Crossing doodle of my villager. Very simple hair. Don't need a lot of lines to get the point across, but some lines do help. And then this is the sketch that I did for this illustration. Yeah, so all of that to kind of show, one, how ideas evolve from thoughts to sketches to refined line arts to full illustrations, but also to kind of show the varying degrees of detail that you can put into hair. Yeah, but I also think if like hair's not your thing, then it's not your thing. You can make that work for you too. Like maybe you do super detailed clothing, or maybe you have a more simplistic style overall, so doing really, really detailed hair wouldn't necessarily fit in that illustration. That's totally fine too. Real quick, I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to go refill my water, go to the bathroom, stretch my legs, and I will be back in a few minutes. Cool? Cool. Okay. Oh yes, I will look that up right now. What are everyone else doing during the stream? Painting. That's right, Berkeley. If you want to tag me in that painting, I'd be happy to show it on the stream. Let me look up Guardia. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Okay. Let's see. My internet's really slow, sorry. Oh, thank you, Manga Art. That's really sweet. Thanks. Let's see. Ooh, I love the colors in some of these. I think that is beautiful. Very pretty, very detailed architecture. Wow, I love these. Oh, see, some of these even remind me of like, kind of like where I grew up. With just the contrast of like the orangey buildings with like that blue sky. Very pretty. I love that. This would be fun to paint in like gouache. Very cool. Ooh, the bird's eye view is neat. Are these like the pictures that you were talking about? Very pretty. I love stuff like this, like little alleyways. Very cool. I like these. Oh yes, I could fix the camera. It's kind of going in and out in focus, huh? Not really sure what's going on with that. I think it's a little bit better when I'm focusing on one thing and it has like one area to focus on, but unfortunately it kind of likes to go in and out of focus. So let's see. I think some of the favorite pictures that I saw, seriously, like some of these remind me so much of like where I grew up. They're really cool. I love this. That's such a cool like bird's eye view. It's very pretty. Where's the other one? Oh, I love this picture. I love that. The colors are so cool. This one too. So pretty. Yeah, thank you for sharing this with me. Very cool. Okay, watercolor time, guys. Finally. It only took 2 hours, basically. Okay. Let me get. Oh, this is so dirty. Dang it. We could probably make that work. What even are some of these colors? Like some of these I feel like I could use in this painting. This is like so lazy. Ugh, gross. Gross! Okay. Let's kind of dry these out. Cool. Fresh, clean paint palette. Okay. I usually start with skin tones. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep these swatches open. I wonder if I can just kind of like prop that up. Will that work? Oh yeah, I should get my other brushes too. That'll work. This is a very precarious way to display the sketchbook, but it'll do. Like I said, we're probably gonna start with the skin. I have this little tin as well to help with some mixing. I'm going to pre-wet all of my paints. It's a little hard to like fit everything in screen here, so I'm gonna do my best, but we have our clean water there, which will become dirty very shortly. But I'm just gonna take a little drop of water and activate each of these paints. I'm not gonna activate that shimmery one, just because if I decide to use it, I'm not sure how yet. And I'm probably not gonna activate the white, because I don't typically use white with watercolor. So I'm gonna go in with like a large-ish brush for like mixing purposes. I'm gonna go in, what is this? A size 12 round brush. Feels a little dirty, but that should be fine. Oh, cause it is. Cause it still has paint on it. Nasty, Amanda, why are you like this? Okay. Good enough, I think. Looks like a baby kangaroo. So cute. Okay, so I'm gonna start kind of light. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to one of these mixing wells too, so we can have a very nice wash of whatever skin color we make. I'm gonna start out with, I might actually start out with this hedgehog because it's kind of a nice happy medium between the warm brown and cool brown in the Winsor & Newton palette. I want something kind of, it's a chonk brush for sure. I want something kind of, for lack of a better word, sickly for the skin color. Pale, not like overly warm. And get a little bit of this plum color. This color is so pretty. I'm adding like a little bit of that January color because it's kind of this like grayish blue. Really pretty. And that will kind of, we'll just see. We'll just kind of see how this works. I swear, I don't know why. Is it for you guys? Is the camera like constantly going in and out of focus? Because it is for me. How would I fix that? Let me see. Can I turn autofocus off? Yes. Cool. Okay. Oh, let me fix the camera too. Hold on. It's gonna like bug out for a second and then it's gonna be totally fine. Hello. Okay, there we go. I think that should have fixed it. Yeah, so sorry about that. Was that doing that the whole time? Okay, that should have fixed it. Sorry, I totally could have fixed that sooner. Yeah, anyway, back to painting. A very light wash here, and I'm not gonna worry at all about like painting over these lines now because they're gonna be totally fine. And we can just schlep on our color. The goal of doing this really light wash is I can pick up parts of it later on that I don't want there, and I can do all sorts of layering. So this is really just going to be a barely there kind of situation. I can see the chat moving. I'm going to catch up on it in just a sec. You know what I didn't do that I'm just realizing is I didn't do the other tear duct on this eye. Dang it. That's okay. I'm not really caring if I get this on the hair because the hair is going to be painted darker. So, you know, in terms of like how long does it take me to do certain things, it takes me a lot less time when I can just paint over certain areas very quickly. It's a very quick and light wash. It probably doesn't even look like anything on the camera. Cool. Very quick. While inking, it wasn't that bad. Okay. Good. But yes, it did. Yeah, man, you guys really have like a great tolerance for like constant, mildly annoying things. But I'm glad that that fixed it. Yeah, so sorry about that again. But, okay. Now, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna darken this now. A little bit of, I think this is burnt umber, sepia maybe? I don't know. This is from the Winsor & Newton palette. A little bit more of this plum and a little bit more of that hedgehog. Slightly deeper, and then I'm also gonna make another mixture with like some pinky rosy kind of colors. This is from the Winsor & Newton palette, and I'm gonna tone it down with a little bit of the plum. Again, just like I like to mix the same colors throughout the piece. Like if I use purple in the skin, I like to use it, you know, in other parts too, and that just kind of helps. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh, I didn't do the neck, but the neck is gonna be darker, so that's fine. You just sat on your phone. Aww. Okay. So I have this like blushy color. I'm gonna use this around the eyes and cheeks. I'm gonna take it up like right near the eye. Again, this is almost to kind of make it look sickly. I'm so afraid that you don't have a swatch page and are just going into your painting. I have a little bit of both. I have the swatches for your watercolors right in front of me. Like, it's out of view, but it's like right up here in that sketchbook. But I don't have a swatch page for like mixing the colors that I'm mixing here. I'm just kind of winging it there. Yeah, we're just kind of going all in. I don't have a swatch. I'm sure I do somewhere. I know I have swatches of the Winsor & Newton palette, but I've also used the Winsor & Newton palette for so long now that I don't really feel like I need, like I know the colors, you know, and I think I could have the swatches in front of me. I don't think I would really be looking at them. So yeah, kind of yes and kind of no. Yeah, I'm not testing my mixes. I'm just kind of going into it. That's how I do it. I don't fret a whole lot about like my colors. Sometimes I'll try to, and then I still end up like just not really caring and going for it. Kind of using this like dry brush to dab up the extra color and soften it around the edges. I like that. Dinner at 11 p.m. Hi, Roseanne. Welcome. Thanks for coming to the stream. Sorry, I got like a tickle in my throat there. I'm intensifying that red right around the eyes. Again, I want it to be cutesy, bordering on creepy. And pretty happy with the level of blush in there right now. So I'm going to throw in some more purple to that. And a little bit of this like January color, which again is like a grayish blue. Wow, the world is round and we forget. Thank you, Anna. Welcome. Nice. Got more watercolor paper, so you're all stocked up to create some cool art while in quarantine. I like that. Okay. I'll probably switch to a smaller brush. We're gonna put the chonk brush away. And I'm gonna switch to a 5 round brush. This is also by Princeton. Hit every single fast food restaurant drive-through window. Very nice. Kind of looks like she's looking at a guy. Yeah, and she's blushing. So the small palette is was put together by Glow Redhead. So I guess she can kind of tell you a little bit more about that process. I'm not exactly sure if it's like a set palette or if she just kind of throws them in these tins when you order them. I don't think it's like a pre-made set or like a pre-selected group of colors, but it does come in this cute little magnetic tin, so they don't like shift around or anything, which is great. 5 weeks, that's crazy. But yeah, these are handmade watercolors by LM Colors, aka Lil Redhead, here in the chat today. Okay, I'm going in this like purpley color now. I'm using that to sort of go around the eyelid. I'm gonna throw it kind of around the nose. Thank you. I've been getting lots of compliments on the hair. Yeah, Walmart's probably crazy right now. Yes. See, yeah, so she kind of picked the colors for me, and they are a great selection of colors. I really do enjoy this set. It's a lot of colors that you can mix together to create lots of really cool combinations, which is great. Yeah, she did a great job. Yes, I love the way that these little sets look right here. They look so adorable. First time in the woods. That's a good question. I don't know if I'll finish this illustration on stream today. I kind of just go based on like how I feel. Usually, like it's very clear to me when I kind of like hit a wall with streaming and I'm like, I'm done for right now. I'm like over it. And it just kind of happens. You know, I usually stream for like 2-3 hours, I guess. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It just depends. Yeah. But we'll definitely probably finish the skin and maybe get like the base layer of the hair and kind of go from there. No worries. And if you guys have to, you know, leave the stream, that's totally okay. You can always like come back and watch it later on if you want to see what you missed. You can always do that. Again, I'm using this technique where like I dry off the brush and use that to kind of soften and blend everything. Little black cat snapping on your leg. Oh, I want a little black cat so bad. My favorite part's the lack of human beings. I like that. Yeah, we've been going on like walks every afternoon around our neighborhood too, which has been really great. I have very much enjoyed it. Oh, that's okay, Anna. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I'm sure school's crazy right now. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm layering up this purple too. I'm probably gonna have to layer it up a lot to get it as dark as I want in certain areas. So we're just gonna kind of be patient with that part of it and come back repeatedly throughout the painting. And probably as I go too, I'll add a little bit more of that January color to this purple to continue to like deepen it up. Hi, Shell. Welcome. 50 masks in 5 hours. That's crazy. Good job. It's a rescue. Oh, what's his name? Rescue cat. Very cute. Oh, I'm sorry, manga art. Yeah, Shell's been making masks for days, which is really, really cool. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of purple under here. And I'm gonna kind of shade around the hairline, just as like a way of creating a nice gradient towards the center of the forehead. Thank you. I'm very glad that you're liking this. Maxwell Smart, I like that. Yeah, I'm sorry, manga. School is tough that way. I'm not sure exactly how old you are. I'm gonna guess maybe middle school or high school. Can definitely relate. Unfortunately, I don't have any answers for you as far as that goes, but I'm glad that you have places like YouTube and the online space to kind of turn to where you can kind of get away from all that. Very true, Saito. I really love how you worded that. You're absolutely right. It really showed the worst in some people, but also the best in others. And it's been cool to see both. Yeah, very true. And the people in your life that deserve to be there will be there. Okay, liking that so far. I'm gonna deepen it again, like I said, with a little bit of this January shade again. That way we can go in and just keep intensifying things. Yeah, I would say too, you don't always have to put a smile on your face. Like, it's totally okay to be like, this sucks and this is the worst. Because it is. I mean, it is awful, but like Little Redhead said, you know, it's a temporary part of your life. Every person I don't have contact anymore with every person I met pre-uni. Yeah. Once you get out of school, high school, middle school, even like elementary school, you can choose who you take with you and who you leave behind. Yeah, very well put. I have never tried Daniel Smith watercolors. Always heard great things. Never personally tried them. It's up to you. I don't mind saying little redhead. I feel like I've said it for years at this point, so I'm good either way. I can call you Lisa if you prefer to just go by Lisa. That's what I do with Saito, so I'm also happy to do that as well. Oh, no one has ever been as supportive. Not yet in your life, but that'll change. Don't try Daniel Smith, you'll get spoiled rotten. That's a great point. At this point, I really don't need to get addicted to another bougie art supply, you know? They're great and vibrant color. And that's coming from a paint maker. Very good point. Yeah, I mean, I use watercolor a lot, but I've never used it enough to where I felt justified in splurging, because watercolors can get really expensive, right? Like, they can really get up there in price quickly. So I've kind of kept with what I know and more in the lower to middle price range for now, and I'm happy there. I'm very happy there. Bought them on sale with a Michaels coupon. Hides behind Photoshop. I totally know exactly what you guys are talking about. Saito, you do beautiful work digitally, though. You do beautiful, beautiful work digitally. I envy your Photoshop skills. I buy on YouTube every few months, but I'm also really addicted to buying pigments to make watercolors and buy from other makers. I like that you kind of disperse the brands and the things that you invest in, though. That's really, really great. And you do it kind of all evenly and gradually, which is wonderful. Oh, hope I didn't kick out any of my plugs. Okay, I think I fixed it. Okay, Manga, we'll see you when you get back. Yes. That's okay, I know what you meant. Photoshop is a subscription based, what would you call it, program now. It wasn't always that way, but yeah, it mostly is now. So yeah, in fact, I just had to renew my Adobe subscription, which is so expensive, but even that being said, is worth it to me, because I can't tell you how nice it is to just not think twice when I'm going to edit something. I can just plug it right into Photoshop and it's easy. Are there workarounds? Are there cheaper versions? Are there free versions? Yes. And that would work for most people who are trying to do most things. However, I still find use for Photoshop. I still justify owning it. It's not just Photoshop either. With the subscription, I get access to, I believe, all of the Adobe suite. Photoshop, Premiere Pro, InDesign, Adobe Illustrator. I don't know how to use all of them, but it's a good excuse to learn because I am paying for the subscription. So yeah, it is really expensive. But worth it in my mind. Welcome back from my old local art store. See, I haven't really tried the koi. Maybe the only thing that I have tried is the metallic. Oh no, those are Kuretake, never mind. Yeah, I've never tried the koi watercolors. I think it was something I was looking into years ago when I was looking at this palette, because koi has one that's very similar, but I kind of just opted for Winsor & Newton, I think, because they had, you know, what I was looking for, basically, more or less. Yeah. It's definitely worth it for me, in my opinion, mainly since Photoshop pays for itself with commission money. Exactly. If it pays for itself, then absolutely no question, it's worth it. But even if it doesn't pay for itself, the ease of just not having to think about it and go, okay, I'll just do that with Photoshop, that's really nice, right? For most things, like for illustration purposes, I don't use Photoshop. I use Procreate. Why is Photoshop still worth it for me? Because when I have to edit files for print, for posting, for doing things like watermarks and you know, PNG files, like I can do all of that with Procreate. Sometimes I still prefer to do it in Photoshop. Like, I don't know if it's like a stubbornness thing at this point, like, but I do find that, like, editing photos, I prefer Photoshop. There's really nothing that I prefer to Photoshop in that regard. And really the only reason I don't use Photoshop to illustrate is because I have Procreate on the iPad. That's the only reason why. But if I had like a tablet that I could use with my computer, I would probably be using Photoshop. I'm probably going to go in and add some more hues to the skin too. It's looking very monochromatic right now. So I am going to go in, I think, with this color. Mix a little bit of January in there too, because why not? I have two of their palettes, Winsor & Newton. Yeah, I like Winsor & Newton a lot. Definitely my most used brand of watercolor. drying off my brush, using that to smooth the edges. Some of these lines. I'm trying everything with watercolor. Good. Have their big Cotman set and some professional tubes. Yeah, I have no complaints with Winsor & Newton, really. It's a great brand, all in all. The rhyming game. That's fun. It's Photoshop for everything, and I mean everything. I even do my architecture work in Photoshop. It's actually scary. So last year, when I was doing my Inktober project, my Celestial book, there was a huge part of me that was like, I can do this in Photoshop. And I could have, but I actually pushed myself to learn InDesign. I haven't mastered it, but I've learned it. I know enough to be dangerous, I would say, with InDesign. Like, I know the basics at this point, and that's pretty good. So yeah, I've really enjoyed learning more of the Adobe programs. I use Premiere Pro to edit my podcast episodes. Just a very rudimentary introduction to Premiere Pro, so that eventually I can do my video editing in there too. Oh dang, lots of rhyming. Yeah, I don't like the Artist Loft. I don't like the Reeves watercolor. Those are really dry and chalky. But that doesn't mean there aren't good student grade watercolors out there. Winsor & Newton and Koi are like, maybe not the cheapest, but they're probably the best for the price. Artist Loft is nasty. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what to do next. Get a little bit of the water in my next well, and I think I'm gonna actually go in with like just the January color. Okay, maybe this is a little weird. I'm gonna try a little bit of January and a little bit of the golden ochre. I'm gonna go a little green with this. Reason being, when I add in my moldy colors, I do want things to lean a little green. So I kind of want to start laying the groundwork for that now. So this will be kind of a nice slight wash, slight introduction to that. And I'm gonna go for a smaller brush. Yeah, I hadn't heard great things about the Artist Loft brushes. Making sure all my acrylic ink is out of this brush. Okay. Now going in with my really gross green color. No, it needs to be darker. It needs to be like less watery, more pigment. More pigment. I'm just gonna go right in. I am freaking Lisa out so much with my watercolor, my lack of watercolor technique as far as planning my color palette goes. Yeah, I'm just going right in. Are too precise with required data, but most of the homework doesn't require advanced math. It needs software. I just find it easier to draw the shit, so I draw the shit in Photoshop. I like that. I like that approach a lot. Okay, that looks good. See, this has always this has always been my watercolor process though. Like, I know it's weird, but for me, like, nothing has changed. I think maybe part of that comes with experience. Part of that comes from my confidence that watercolor is a pretty forgiving medium. So if it doesn't look the way that I want, I can fix it. Nothing is like permanent. Yeah, I kind of am just like, if it doesn't work out, it'll be fine. Or like, I'll just kind of go with it and see what happens. But I will say, like, if this was my first time using watercolors, I would probably be treating it a little different. Like with gouache, I definitely didn't have, no, even with gouache, I kind of had the same approach. I don't know, maybe it's just my personality. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Go ahead and lick it. Literally on the edge of my seat. It's okay. It's okay. It'll all be okay. The only thing that is, like, my bad is I definitely put way too much water in this color. And I'm adding more, which is not the solution. So it's not quite as dry as I would like. Yeah, of course. Let's see it. Oh, wow. That is so cool. Oh my gosh, this is so intricate. Very intricate. Very cool. Very well done. Let's see if it lets me zoom in here. Oh, there we go. Very cool, Saito. And the fact that you did that all with Photoshop is neat. Intricate's a good word. I took everyone with me and got tacos for dinner. All right. We all got tacos for dinner. It's okay. So I think, too, the other part that I think about with my approach to watercolor, and I think why I'm so haphazard with it, because when I started doing watercolor more, it was kind of a nice change up from how how much control I had when I worked with markers. It is 2:21 p.m. where I am now. So watercolors for me are like kind of an escape from really refined color, stroke. Like, it's kind of a nice mix up for me, I guess. Like, being able to sit down and like say, I have no idea what this is going to look like when I'm done with it, is not something I do with marker. But it's something I do all the time with watercolor. I have a lot of trust in it as a medium. Sometimes we can wish skills without all the hard work, right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, I've never been one to say, like, oh, I'm a watercolor artist, because I don't think that I am. I paint in watercolor, but I haven't mastered it as a medium, right? And I feel in most ways like I've mastered markers. And like, I know that medium very well. But I don't think I enjoy watercolor a lot. I have experience with it. I don't think I've mastered it because I just go into it very playfully and very like, we'll just see what happens kind of thing. So as far as like mediums that I've mastered, really I don't think I've mastered anything except marker. But that's okay too. Like, I think over time I'll probably expand my horizons with watercolor more and start to understand a little bit about like the way it behaves and different techniques and pigment makeup and everything like that. But for the most part, it's kind of just fun. Totally should someone just buy it. 6 months of work after 3 years of study. So 6 months of work. It did pay off. Oh, that's right, Saito. I forgot. I did know that you were going to get your master's. I did know that. So congratulations on that, though. That was, I mean, it's really well done. Hi, Barry. Oh my goodness. Hello. I've not seen your icon in so long. How are ya? Let's see. Oh, I just got a call from a blocked number. Let's see. Brother and dad say to architectures. I know how much goes in behind the scenes. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, the Wi-Fi conked out, but welcome back. Welcome back. Again, I feel like this whole illustration is kind of slow moving. Like, adding little by little, seeing what happens as we go here. Let's see. How are things here? Things are good. Better now that you're here. I love that answer. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, Lisa, and have a good night's sleep, and good luck at class tomorrow. Take care. Yes, I agree. Oh, yeah. Oh, I never do well with timers. Never do well with timers. I don't, like I said, like when somebody asked how long does it take on average to, do an illustration, I don't have an answer for that because it really just varies, and I never try and like push myself to do something within a certain time. Sure, there are benefits to that, but it's not really my thing. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this up. My plan is to end the stream within the next like 30 minutes or so. Sound good? 3 hours? It's kind of a long enough stream, I think. Thank you, Roseanne. I appreciate that. I have been streaming for 2 hours and 41 minutes. Between too long and not long enough, depending on the degree of fun. I like that. Thank you. Everyone's been complimenting the hair. It's for sure my favorite part too, of this illustration. I love it. It was a lot of fun to ink. Slightly terrifying at times, but that's art, right? That's just the creative process. If you're not slightly terrified while you're doing it, are you even really creating? The lines are just so smooth. Thank you. Actually, if you get up close, there's a lot of grittiness, a lot of texture. But that's gonna work in our favor a little bit later on when we're focusing on the hair more, because texture and hair go really nicely together. They're sort of good pals. And by having all that texture in the hair, it means I don't have to create it when I'm painting it. Yeah, I think some people have been drawing. I love that. The line's just I'm sitting on my butt watching you. Yeah, I've been sitting on my butt for the past 3 hours too. And I can feel it. Like my legs and my feet are like cramping up. But we usually go on walks in the afternoon, so I'll get to stretch my legs a little. Okay. So I have a lot of the shadows where I like them. Like I said, I've lost a lot of the blushy tones on my Vaporwave Flower Crown series. Sounds so cool. You can put, I mean, if you're able to put a link in the chat, feel free. What color are the eyes going to be? I don't know yet. I haven't really thought about it. I probably won't get that far in the painting today. I'll probably, like I said, get as far as like finishing up the skin. And that's about it, it looks like. I know the hair is gonna be like a cool brown. Yeah, links are totally okay. Thank you for asking permission first, though. I always appreciate that. So the eyes, I mean, we're gonna have lots of greens, kind of grayish greens, but I might want them to stand out a little bit more, so maybe I'll do kind of like a yellowy brown. Maybe. I don't know. I kind of gotta see what other colors are going on in the rest of the painting. Honestly, the eyes might be like one of the last things that I do. And I'm just kind of fading the arms and the neck out into the white of the paper. How tall am I? I am like 5'4", 5'3", 5'4" ish. That is the approximate height. I don't have like the exact number. Oh, good question. Was it an original character or was it fan art? I like that question. So chances are I'm still going to be kind of going back in and shading the skin throughout the piece too. I'm going to take a little bit of this Helios shade. Love this color. This is, again, the LM Colors Handmade Watercolors. Her name is Bella. Oh, cool. I'm gonna add this color to the lips a little bit. Bring some life to them. Although not too lively, because remember, this painting is inspired by mold. So if things look a little sickly, that's gonna work in our favor. I'm gonna get this little bit of scrap paper towel to kind of pick up some of this pigment. I'm almost 5'10", so lots of people are small to me. That's awesome. 5'10", own it. These are beautiful, Saito. Oh my gosh. So beautiful. I love that. I love the effect of the lighting. 4'11.5". That is small, even for me. Again, I think I want to go in, add some more of this color too, like the eye area. Oh, let's see. So, oh no, I can't do that in my head. I know, that lighting looks so good. I don't know what it would be in other measurements. Can't think of it. Meters? Centimeters? Spank, something like that. I'm gonna take this color up above the eye a little bit too, and then a little bit of it just right where that tear duct is. (181, 182-ish centimeters). Yeah, I have no idea what I am in centimeters. Whatever 7 inches in centimeters, that's like 17 centimeters shorter than Barry. I don't know. I'm bad at calculations. That's why Google exists. Yes, yes it is. purple in here too, I think. I'm using that to add just some texture to the lips. Not that it's really gonna matter at this point, because I can still blend and add colors, and that could kind of completely wash this out. Going back to the whole how long does it take you to finish a piece of art, sometimes I do things really fast, sometimes I'm really counterproductive and kind of do things that I then have to redo later on because of the order that I do them in. You know. Precious beans. 5-5. Nice. I'm horrible at math too. I look like I'm 14 when I'm 20. I'm gonna say my height from centimeters from now on. It makes me feel so much taller. I like that. That's a good plan. Okay. What are we gonna do? Like 15 more minutes and then we'll kind of wrap up. I can tell I'm starting to get into like the slump part of the stream where I'm like, don't want to do this anymore. It's not that bad yet, but we're getting there. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of paint some dimension into the eyes. Oh, I love that. 5'9"3/4. Sweet. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of this Helios color. And I'm gonna like really punch up those inner corners and this like lower fleshy waterline part. Just to like upgrade the creep factor, which you guys can barely see, but it's there. You look younger than I really am. It's okay, you got this. Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. I'm gonna add a few of these into the lips as well. These little orangey lines. One, because I love this color and I wanted an excuse to incorporate it more. Two, I think it also just kind of punches up the colors a little bit. Which looks nice. Ugh, love it. My brother's 14, he's almost 6 feet tall. Dang. Caffeine time. Love it. I still haven't finished my coffee from this morning, and it's 2:45 now. Better late than never. You guys are the only two that aren't tall. For my, depending on which side of my family, for my dad's side of the family, out of all my aunts and even most of my cousins, I am pretty tall. Most of the women on my dad's side of the family are pretty short. Like my grandma was like 4'9", 4'10". All my aunts are like 4'11" or 5 feet. On my mom's side, I'm the shortest. Because my mom's pretty tall, my grandma's pretty tall on my mom's side. Like my aunt on my mom's side is pretty tall. But depending on which side of the family, I'm either tall-ish or short. Youngest born, tallest in my family. Nice. I'm even like, I wouldn't say I'm close to the height of my boy cousins on my dad's side, but I'm probably not too far off. I'm catching up to them. Not really, I'm done growing, but she ate her vegetables, okay? She ate all her berries. That's why she's so tall. Yeah, I stopped growing in like 6th grade. Just never got taller. Oh, I know that feeling, Roseanne. Okay. I don't really know what else to paint at the moment. To be completely honest, I'm kind of like, what's left? It's done. The painting's done. Yeah, I did always love broccoli. See? Told you. She just ate all her veggies. I was gonna say 5'6" in my book is like average slash on the taller side, but maybe it depends, like depending on where you grew up and who you grew up around. That might be tall, might be short. Being tall has its pros too, though, man. I'm continually like blending on these harsh edges that I don't want to. I want this to look smooth to slightly splotchy. Yeah, I can always sit in the back seat and I always have enough leg room, which is great. I had never thought of it that way. Yeah, no legroom when flying for sure would be really tough. And like as a person who's not tall, I always feel obligated to take like the middle seat or, you know, the seat that doesn't require a lot of legroom, or like driving in a car, right? Like I'll sit in the back. Me and my legs won't get in the way. I've never been out of Diet Canada. For those who don't know, that's Minnesota. see. That's true, but you can't always have a chair wherever you need one to get stuff. So sometimes it's nice to have a tall person around. Amanda lives in Florida and I live in the Midwest, so those flights hurt. Oh, I bet. Oh, yeah, I feel that, Barry. Yeah, if you're average height, then I feel like the world's kind of built for you. Like, if you're 5'6", I think the world is, like, meant for people that are 5'6". Any less you're gonna struggle, any more you're gonna struggle. 5'6", you're good. You're set. Okay, I think we're gonna put the brush down. I think we're gonna pause. And from there, I will pick this up, probably not in another stream this week, maybe. I don't know. I don't really have a plan. Everything is really subject to change right now. Like I said, we just found out we'll probably have to be temporarily moving into another apartment for a few days while they fix the mold issue. So we'll kind of just have to figure things out from there. I might do more Instagram lives. I'm certainly still going to be posting over there. So where you can find me. But this was a fun stream. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. This was tons of fun. And we'll see ya when we see ya. Hope you all take care until then, okay? See you later. Expect the unexpected. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Bye, guys. Have a good afternoon or evening, or maybe it's Friday already where you are. Who knows?